All right. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another PE live show. So good to have you guys here. Happy Thursday. Excited to see all of these beautiful new faces. Welcome, guys, to the community. We're really happy to have you guys here. Say hi as you join. Say hello. And I hear that we have people all across the globe. So definitely tell us in the comments, where are you tuning in from? Where are you joining us from? Say hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We're really happy to have you here. Welcome back, guys, again to another PE live show. We do this every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really, really excited to be here with you guys today. And I'm excited to talk about our converting content strategy. So really, really pumped about this. I hope you guys are excited. Go ahead and say hi as you guys drop in. Let us know where you're tuning in from here in the world somewhere, right? Say hello. If you are new here and you are just tuning in for the first time, we are so excited to have you here. Let us know in the comments that you're new and this is your first PE live show. We're really excited to be bringing this to you. I'm here in Maine, for those of you that are unaware. I am here in Maine tuning in from my home office. Awesome. Wow, Puerto Rico. All right. Love it. Love it. Say hello, guys. Let us know you're here. If you're a replayer, go ahead and give hashtag replay. And again, let us know where you're tuning in from. We're really, really excited to connect with all of these new faces and new humans. Sunny Ireland. I love that. That's so cool. We have people from everywhere, so this is extremely exciting. Welcome, guys. Welcome, especially if you are just getting here for the first time. We're happy to have you here. If you guys have been following us for a little bit, well, you know the gist, right? We do this every week, go live with you guys, and we just love sharing our strategies with you guys. Today, on the PE Live Show, I'm excited to share our converting content strategy with you guys. We've had lots of discussions with you guys. We've been talking to a lot of humans, and we're really finding that people are really curious, like, what kind of content should I create? How much content should I create? Where should I create content? What the heck should this look like? How do you do this thing? And I'm really, really excited to share how we do content a little bit different than probably everybody else, right? So we're really excited to share that with you guys today. So I'm going to go into a couple of things that I want to share with you guys around content, kind of what we're doing, what we've been doing and testing for a while that is just working really, really well. And then what we'll do is we'll open up for a few questions. So as I go through these things with you, I have a few things I want to share with you that we're doing. As I share that with you, if you have questions, anything like that, definitely let us know in the comments, and I'll come in and answer a few questions at the end, okay? All right, so here's what I want to do today. What I want to try to do is I want to try to get you guys to buy in to this idea that less is more, okay? So I want to get you guys to buy in to the idea that less actually is more, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because I think that oftentimes in this industry, we can kind of have this sense that if I want to create more clients, if I want to create more income, if I want to have a bigger impact, I need to create a lot, right? I need to be creating a lot. I need to spend a lot of time creating content, and I need content, a lot of content everywhere. Now, it's not to say that that's not a strategy that works. There's a lot of people out there that create a lot of content in a lot of places. But what I'm trying to get you guys to buy into is that you don't have to do that. You can, but you don't have to. So the idea is that you can create less content and have it be more impactful, more result producing, right? And more valuable to your audience, okay? And it doesn't mean that if you create less content, you get less clients or you get less results. So I really just want to kind of start this session off by really getting you to buy into less is more, okay? Less can be so much more, okay? So what I want to share when it comes specifically to content is, for those of you guys who are maybe on multiple platforms. I know we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. We used to be on LinkedIn, right? Some of you guys are on all kinds of different platforms. And so you have this sense of urgency around being visible on all of these platforms at a massive, massive level, almost an unattainable level, right? Some of you guys are trying to create so much content. It's not even a manageable thing, right? Like it's so much that it's unattainable. Okay. It's not something you can even keep up with. And so what I'm trying to get you guys to do is, here's the thing. It's not about how many pieces of content that you create and that you put out. It's about what pieces of content you're creating, right? And putting out there. And then how consistently are you doing that? That's the thing. So I'm going to share a little backstory real quick before we get into strategy, because I want you guys to understand what it is I'm trying to get you guys to buy into. When I first closed the doors to my VA agency and I started this business, I started coaching, I fell into a couple of mentors' laps, some big influencers actually that some of you probably follow. And I fell into their laps and I fell into their stuff and I started to follow them. Well, then I started getting mentored by them. And I was told by 3 of these people, and if you want to be seen, if you want to create a massive income and a massive impact, you're going to need to create more content. And I was like, okay, when you say more content, what does that mean? Like, how much more content do I need to create? And they're like, you need to create 1 piece of content every hour for each platform that you're on. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I have to create a piece of content every hour to create clients and to make money and to get sales? That sounds like a lot of content. And they're like, yep, if you want a lot of clients, you want to make a lot of money, you got to put out a lot of content. So for about a year, you guys, I'm not even kidding, for about a year, I would sit down every weekend and spend hours, like the whole day, creating 1 piece of content, 1 new piece of content to go out every hour, because those mentors told me that if I don't have a piece of content going out every hour in the news feed, that nobody was going to see me. I wouldn't be seen enough. And so I'm like, okay. And at that time, guys, that did make sense to me. Okay. At the time, it made sense because if you look at your news feed, there's a lot there, right? Like every second, you can hit refresh every second and there's new posts. So it made sense what they were saying to me, that if I didn't have something going out every hour, the chances of me being seen are probably really slim. It made sense. So I spent about a year doing that. Basically, all my time was creating content. It was exhausting. Okay. It was so exhausting. I was trying to create a lot of content for a lot of different platforms. I had this auto scheduler that was putting them out and the pictures didn't look right. And it was a hot mess. Here's the thing. I still was not making more money. And I still wasn't really seeing a bigger impact. I was just seeing that people, after like a year, people were starting to see me, but they weren't actually like booking a call with me. I wasn't getting any engagement. I wasn't seeing sales from it. And so for me, it kind of felt like this is not a sustainable strategy. Like I thought if I was putting out a piece of content every hour, I would be seeing a lot of results, right? It just wasn't happening. And so here's the thing. This was when I really just decided I'm going to find a different way. I'm going to find my own way to create content and to get it out there and to be seen. And I'm not spending my entire weekend creating a piece of content for every hour on all my platforms, right? So what I did, guys, is I got really strategic. I got strategic and I got very intentional with what I created and where and when I posted. Okay. And I'm not talking about the time of day or anything like that. I'm going to get into my strategies with you guys so you can kind of pull this together. But the biggest lesson that I learned was that it has nothing to do with how many pieces of content that I put out. I was putting out 1 piece every hour on that news feed, and it was not getting me clients. It was not making me more money, and I was not being seen as an expert, and it was not getting me a bigger impact. Yet today, I only put out a few pieces of content per week, and we get sales, we get engagement, we get consults, we get far more results, we get way bigger ROI for the effort that I put in to being more strategic and creating less content, but more valuable content. Because let's keep it real, and I'm going to be totally transparent and honest, right? Those pieces of content that I had going out every single hour, probably 90% of it was like quotes, tips, other people's quotes. I mean, guys, a piece of content an hour every single day, that's a lot of content. So I was like scrounging for content. I was trying anything and everything to like think of a piece of content I could put out every hour. So it was very meaningless content, pointless content, random content. A lot of it wasn't even my stuff. It was like sharing other people's quotes and tips and blogs and, oh my God, just anything to put something there in that 1 hour block, right? So what happens, I think, often with us is that we tend to put content out for the sake of putting content out, meaning there's no strategy behind it. It's not intentionally planned out. There isn't any intention behind it. And sometimes it's not even your own content that you're sharing, okay? And so my whole idea behind this, guys, is that it is so much more about what you put out and how consistent you are with what you put out, with those core pieces, versus I need to create a lot of content. It's one of the first things people ask me when they come to the community, when they join my program, and tell me what content to create. How much do I create? What do I say? What pieces should I put out? And I'm like, whoa. Let's take it back. We need to be more strategic than that, okay? So here's what we do. I do a few core pieces of content every week, okay? And I get way more ROI for those few pieces of content than I did when I was putting out random pieces every hour, just to be seen in the feed, if you will. So there is strategy behind what we do, guys. I'm going to share with you kind of what we do so you can see what I do differently and how strategic and intentional we are. But there is strategy behind what we do, okay? So here's the thing. The first thing is, guys, is that my content is strategic and it's intentional. Write that down. Number one, your content needs to be strategic and intentional. So what I mean by that is I plan my content out in advance based on whatever my goals are or whatever we have going on in the company at that time, right? We do not create content throughout the day. I'm not like randomly creating content as I go. I'm not creating last minute type of content. I'm not in the middle of a launch creating content. I'm not, oh my God, I'm going live today. Let me create. All of the emails that you guys have seen this week, all of the posts that you have seen this week talking about this live right here, okay? Rather you saw this in my email, rather you're here because you saw it here in the group, rather you saw it on Instagram or even on my Facebook page. Wherever you saw the invitation about today's live show, that was not created today. In fact, it wasn't even created this week. This was created in advance. We already had this stuff created and scheduled and ready to go out last week. And the week before last week, I already knew I was talking about this. Okay? So we do not create content throughout the day unless we have something inspired that I want to share, right? If I'm doing something and I have an inspiration or a download or there's something I want to share with you, that's fine. I'll go on and share that with you guys. But I'm not creating content the day of the things that I'm trying to do. If I want people to come to my live show, I'm not going to create that content that same day. I'm creating it in advance. I'm going to schedule it. I'm going to get it out and it's already going to be scheduled. So I don't need to worry about it. If I'm doing a launch, we don't create content in the middle of launching. We create it in advance. It's strategically planned out. It's very intentional. It's scheduled. It's ready to go so that when you're live, when you're taking your action steps, when you're launching, when you're going live, when you're doing whatever you're doing, you could focus on doing that because you've already created the content, right? So you don't really need to be creating content as you go unless it's something inspired. Okay. So for me, I have found that my content is more strategic, it's more intentional, and it's got actual feeling, emotion, and meaning behind it when I create it in advance versus when I'm trying to do it because I'm like, oh shit, I have to close up here in like 10 minutes, or oh my God, I forgot to do that today because I got lost in my day, or oh my God, I have a call and I'm supposed to be promoting this thing. I got to rush and put this email together. When we create content from a place of I'm rushing, I have urgency, I'm desperate, or oh my God, I forgot to do this piece of thing. I have to go do this really quick. It's never really effective, right? I don't know how many of you guys share in the comments if you can relate to this, but how many of you guys, right? Just say me in the comments if you feel like, oh my God, that's me. Like last minute, I'm like, oh my God, shoot, I forgot to send the email. Oh my God, I didn't post that today. Oh my God, I'm going live in like 20 minutes and I haven't told anybody. Like, right? Like how many of you guys, just say me in the comments, can somehow in some way relate to that? Because that is kind of how I used to do content. And a lot of the times content didn't get done when I did that. If I didn't do it in advance, a lot of the times it didn't get done. Or it would get done very last minute and be very rushed. And how many of you guys find yourself writing content or drawing up content or sharing content where you're like, that's not really like my soul message, but I got to get it out. So I'll just get it out, right? Or that's not really what I want to say, but like, I don't have a lot of time and I didn't have time to sit and think about it, right? How many of you guys have done that? I know that that was like pretty much my life, right? And especially if you're busy, right? If you have a job, if you have kids, I mean, anyone who has kids right now, they're home, right? If you're working a job and you're trying to run your business and you're taking care of kids, you can find yourself feeling like you're creating constant last minute content. Okay. What you want to do is be strategic and be more intentional and plan your content in advance. Even if you just look at this week and create next week's content. Right? That it doesn't need to be weeks in advance. In fact, I don't do too many weeks in advance because I do want to make sure that my content is inspirational and it's inspired. So, I don't know what I might want to say in a month. So I'm not going to create a month's worth of content in advance because I don't know what I want to talk about in a month, right? But I might do this coming week or even the week after if I feel inspired. So I want you guys to just kind of think about a day where you could take a couple of hours to just get really creative and have some inspired time where maybe you could think about, okay, what might I want to talk about next week? Let me look at my goals. Let me see what we have going on in the company. What might I want to talk about next week that's going to help support those goals? And then really, you're not creating a lot of content, so this shouldn't take a lot of time. Okay, that's the other cool thing. Many people out there are going to teach you to create a boatload of content. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I would rather create less content that's more valuable, more strategic and intentional, and then maybe hire someone to just repurpose it for me, right? So that I'm not constantly feeling like I'm just a content machine. All I do is sit around and just create content, right? That's not why I started my business. Most of you did not start your business to do that unless you're like a copywriter or something like that, right? But other than that, you did not start your business to sit around and be a content machine all day, right? You're here to make an impact, to make a difference. You're here to work with clients. You're here to help your clients get results. And you can't do that if you're sitting behind your computer drawing up content all the time, right? And so that is the first step. That is something that I do is I get very, very strategic. Okay. The other thing, number 2, guys, is I focus on 3 core pieces of content each week. Okay. So I really want to look at what's going to give me my biggest bang for my buck. So again, a lot of you guys are telling us, I would like to see an ROI from my content, right? If I'm going to go live, if I'm going to do a challenge, if I'm going to do a workshop or a webinar, or I'm going to send out emails or whatever your strategy is for how you serve your people, you obviously want to get an ROI for that, right? You want to get something in return. Well, here's the thing that we have found. Again, we have found that there's certain pieces of content that get the best result, okay, over other pieces of content. So I'm going to share my 3 core pieces of content that get us the biggest bang for our buck. And then I want you guys to kind of think about where maybe you could see some room for improvement or to make a shift and start creating content that's going to serve the marketplace as it is today. Okay. So the first thing is I have a weekly podcast. We put a lot of effort into that podcast. We have over like 60 episodes. We're going to start bringing on other people to interview on that podcast. It's one of our main content streams, right? Like a lot of the people that find us have found me from my podcast. A lot of the people that want to interview me on their podcast have found me from my podcast. Okay. So here's the thing with the podcast is getting behind the mic is extremely important in today's marketplace. Hiding behind content, it just is not really effective as it once was, because people want to hear you, people want to see you, people want to connect with you, and they want to know you're a real human. And they can't do that with your emails. They can't do that with your social posts, right? So they want to hear you. And so what we want is to be looking at, okay, if I'm going to do content, then I'm going to use the strategies that are going to get me the best and biggest bang for my buck if I'm going to go behind the mic, right? So if I'm going to create content, I would rather do it on video or do it from a microphone than do it in an email or a social post, because video or audio is going to get me way more results, ROI, than an email or a social post. Okay. So again, you really have to be strategic, right? In today's marketplace, the way it is right now, podcasts are the top number one streaming resource right now for all content. What does that mean? That means everyone in the globe, everybody in the world is on podcasts. They are tuning in and they are downloading content and they are listening to content and live streaming content from podcasts. People love podcasts. So it doesn't mean you have to start your own podcast, but if you don't want to get behind the mic on your own podcast, then get behind the mic on somebody else's podcast. Okay? That would be really good use of your time. That would get you a bigger ROI for your effort. Does that make sense? Say, let me know in the comments if that makes sense. Just type makes sense. If that makes sense, okay? You're going to put the time and energy and effort in to creating content one way or another. Whether it's an email, a social post, a live, a workshop, a webinar, an email sequence, a funnel, I don't know, all of the things. Why not put that time and effort into the strategies that are trending in the marketplace today? So your 300 pieces of content per month that you're spending so much time trying to get out there, and it's all random and it's last minute and you're just grasping for a result. If you could do a couple of podcast interviews in a month, you're probably going to get way more bang for your buck. Okay. So I decided a while back, I'm going to create my own podcast. I was on everybody else's podcast all the time. And I'm like, why don't I start my own podcast? Right. So now I have my own podcast. And I'm also on other people's podcasts. I love getting interviewed on people's podcasts. I love having my own podcast. So it is a commitment. It is a strategy, you guys, right? It is a strategy. You have to commit. Remember, I said it's not how much you put out, it's what you put out and how consistently you do it. If you're going to do a podcast, you got to consistently do a podcast. If you're going to get featured on podcasts, you have to consistently get featured on podcasts. It's a strategy, so you need to be consistently doing it. But you guys want to really look at what are the strategies that are going to get my voice and my face out there in the most strategic, efficient way, right? So now I can spend far less time jumping on a 20-minute podcast that I do every single Monday, right? It's 20-minute podcasts. I can give powerful, super, super packed value in that 20 minutes that would never come across that way in an email or a social post. Right? So sometimes it's easier to just say something than it is to try to type it up and get your point across. Okay. Plus, you've got to look at the marketplace. And today in the marketplace, people are reading less emails, they're binging on less posts, and they're listening to podcasts. That makes sense? So that's the first thing. And I really recommend do both. I recommend start your own podcast, and I recommend go get on other people's podcasts. It's far better use of your time. And it does a multitude of things. I mean, it gets you collaborations, it gets you visible, it builds authority, it gets your brand, it builds brand awareness for you, it gets you features and opportunity, it gets you bigger engagement, more people in your audience. There's so many things that a podcast can do for you, okay, in terms of growing and scaling your business. So I definitely recommend doing this. And at some point, for those of you that maybe aren't there yet where you're hiring a team member, at some point, hire a PR expert to help you really take it to another level. So that is the first core piece of content that we use in my company. I have a podcast that goes out every Monday. I really try to aim for 1 to 2 interviews per month on other people's podcasts. I have taken the past 6 or 9 months off of doing that, but we're going to be picking that right back up because it's a strategy I have always used. So that is one. The second core piece of content is my weekly PE live show. That's where we are right now. That's what you're watching right now. This is what we're tuning into right now. I do this every week. I've done this every week for years. Every single week for years, I go live with a fresh new piece of content, something trendy to share, answering your questions, giving good value, teaching you our methodologies and our strategies. We've done this for years, every single week. So people that have been following us, people that are in our community, people that are on our email list or connected on social, they know that we're doing this. They know that Ann goes live every week with a PE live show. They know it happens in the group. They know it happens every week, right? Everyone knows that that's been in our community, or as you enter this community, we let you know that, right? This is a big, big piece of our content strategy. I would rather spend 45 minutes here with you guys live like this and answer some of your questions live and interact with you, where you can see my office, you can see me, you can hear me, you can ask your questions live. I would rather do this than go write up an email or go write 10 social posts trying to get my point across. This video will get me more ROI than any email or social post is going to do for me. So I would much rather just jump on here and spend 30 to 45 minutes with you guys, interact with you, let you see who I am, hear me, see me, answer some of your questions. I'm going to get way more ROI for this than I am any other piece of content. Okay? Does that make sense? So this video each week is going to do far more than maybe 10 random pieces of content that I blast out on social media, trying to say what I'm saying here, right? It's a lot harder to take something verbally and try to like type it up and get the point across to other people, right? Because number one, people don't have time, so they don't want to sit and read your long email or post. Number two, words come off different than actual voice, right? So it's so much easier just get on live like this, get behind the video, get behind the mic. You're going to get way more for it, right? It converts, guys. We generate sales every single time we go live or I get behind the mic. We generate conversations and we generate sales. It's converting content. I very rarely ever get a sale from an email directly or a social post directly. Right? But if I add video or add podcast, if I get behind the mic, if I get behind the video, we convert. Okay? It's just what the marketplace wants right now. So that's another thing. Okay? Is also looking at what is your goal of your content? Do you just want people to comment? Do you want people to give you a heart and like? Do you want people to listen and be streaming you while they're out jogging and at the gym and exercising or cooking dinner or chasing the kids around? Do you want them to stream? Do you want them to pop on your video and join you every week and get on and like book calls with you and sales and like join your programs? What do you want from your content? Because the type of content that you put out and how consistently you do that needs to support those goals. Right? My goal is not to get hearts and likes. My goal is to have an impact and make an income for me and for my audience, right? I want win-wins. So I'm not going to do that out of creating a bunch of social posts or sharing, Tony Robbins' quote with you. Like, what is that going to do for me? So that's what you guys need to be. That's where that strategic, intentional piece comes in about like, what do you guys actually want to see happen with your content? And then what strategies, what types of content are going to support that, right? Do you get sales from your emails? If you send out an email twice a week, are you going to get a sale from that? If you put 5 posts, social posts out, randomly on the internet each week, does it get you a direct sale, right? What strategies are getting you the direct sales? What strategies are converted? What pieces of content convert for you? For me, it's our live show right here where we are. It's our weekly podcast, right? It's any time that we get into interactive conversation with you guys. That is where the sales come from, the conversions, okay? And then the third thing is we do either a daily or like a weekly prompt. I usually only do like 1 or 2 of these a week in the Facebook group. Sometimes my team will drop a couple questions in the group that get everybody interactive and engaging and just providing us with like more information and data on what do you want from us? What do you want us to talk about, right? We came up with this piece of content because a bunch of you guys were asking, I would like to know what Ann's content strategy is. I would like to know what types of content I should be putting out. I don't know what content to create or where to create. I would love to know. So you guys created this live show, right? So sometimes it's questions like that, like, guys, what do you want to hear from us? What do you want to learn from us? What do you want to know about what I'm doing over here to create what we're creating, right? We do over $100,000 from just our Facebook group alone, you guys. Just our Facebook group brings in over $100,000. And the thing is, it's a lot of it is the content. It's the content, it's the type of content, the consistency, and the strategicness that we have with our content system. We have a strategy, we have a system in place, right? We follow it every single week. It's very strategic, it's very simple. It's 3 core pieces, but it's got a very strict system behind it. And we follow that every single week. And that's what creates conversions. That's what creates our sales with small, engaged audiences. You don't even need a big audience, right? Okay. Sometimes it's just a client testimonial that we'll share, right? If you guys if you're in our group, Simplify the Scale, if that's where you're watching this, if you're in there, then you can go in the unit section and see, like, sometimes my clients will pop in and do like a video and they'll share kind of their experience and some value with you guys, right? Or sometimes we'll share content or case studies from our clients with you guys, right? Sometimes it's that we are doing our Simplify the Scale workshop. That's our 5-day signature workshop. We do it every quarter, right? Soon to be every month. But we do that every single quarter, right? There's a workbook. There's a process behind it. There's a strategy behind it. We're doing our next one in September. We do these every single quarter, like clockwork, right? These are our organic launches that create multiple 5 figures for us in 10 days or less. And it's another piece of content that gets us the biggest bang for our buck, okay? Because I'm on live video for 5 to 10 days with you guys. We're sharing a very structured system with you guys. We're answering questions. We're in the DMs with you. We're sharing tips with you. We're giving you feedback. It's live and interactive. You're getting results. You're getting breakthroughs, right? You're having an amazing experience. It creates a lot of conversions for us. So again, I just want you guys to be thinking, you have to think about what's going on in your business, what's coming up, so you can create content ahead of time for that thing, right? So if I'm doing my workshop, my Simplify the Scale workshop is in September. I'm already right now creating content for that launch. I'm not going to create that content in the middle of my launch or 2 days before I go live, right? I'm already doing that now. I'm already taking our content and getting it created, getting it scheduled, getting it ready, getting it all approved, edited, fixed up. It's already going to be done long before we even launch. Okay. So again, this is what I want you guys thinking about, right? And during that launch, we're not putting out a ton of content. A lot of it is live. A lot of it is just live video, bonus sessions and stuff like that. Okay. All right. Then what we do is just repurpose. A lot of the content we create, like my podcast, that gets posted everywhere. It goes to my email. It goes on all my social platforms, all my Facebook groups, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Same thing with this weekly live show. Well, we do it here in the group. We email our email list and let them know to come catch the replay if they missed it. We upload this to YouTube. Right? Usually we live stream over on Instagram. We're not doing that tonight, but usually we'll live stream over on Instagram as well. And we'll hit up that platform, right? We can live stream over on LinkedIn if we want to. So we're going to take this one piece of content and repurpose it in all the ways we can. At some point, our video editor will take a bunch of clips from all our different videos and create stories, right? Or quick little 2-minute quick tips that we can drop in the Facebook groups. We're not going to create new content. Right? We're going to have what we've created and have it repurposed. Okay. The other thing that we do in our content that most people do not do, we only give the what and the why. Okay. If you go back and watch any of my video trainings that are in our Facebook group, if you go back and check out, our podcast episodes, if you watch and listen to any of our content, the one thing you're going to see is I do not tell you the how. I tell you the what. Right? What we do, what we want you guys doing, what we'd like to see you doing, and why we do what we do, and why we want you to try what we do. That's it. I'm not going to tell you how to go do those things, right? There's a reason behind that, you guys. First of all, you get the how in my program. right? I don't give that for free when my clients had to pay for that. The how is in my program. Your how should be in your program. You give the what and the why, not the how, okay? In my free content, I'm not going to give you the hows of anything. I'll give you the whats and the whys, okay? Because here's the thing. If you want the how, right? If you want the how, you have to pay for that. It's not free because the how is customized. It's not black and white. It's not cookie cutter. It's not one size fits all, right? What works for one is not going to work for another person. So I'm not going to go tell you how to go do these things because I don't know if that's the right way for you to go do it because I don't know anything about your business. I don't know you. I don't work with you, right? So I am very, very intentional with what I tell you guys and what I'll share with you guys, because I'm not going to tell you to go and do it this way. And then you go do that. And then it doesn't work for you because it's not the right way. And then you come back and say, it's my way that doesn't work, or it's my strategy or whatever, right? When I know what I teach works, I know that for a fact, right? So if people want to know, oh, but how do you do that? How do you create that type of stuff? How do you structure your lives so that you make sure you get conversions? How do you schedule this out? And how do you write that? And how do you type this? And how do you decide how to do all this stuff? I have templates and a system for that, but it's not cookie cutter. So I'm not going to give that how here, right? So part of what I see a lot of you guys doing is trying to coach people for free and trying to tell them how to go do what you teach on their own. And number one, it's not a one size fits all. So it's almost setting them up for failure. Number two, they should be paying you for that how, right? Anything worth having, guys, doesn't come free. It's not going to come easy. It doesn't come for free, right? So if you want the how, they should be paying because, you put a ton of work in your methodologies, in your way, right? I worked 20 years to get where I am today, right? I worked 20 years to build out the systems that I've built. I have a lead generation system. Many of you guys are like, oh my God, how do you do it? Tell me how to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do anything, right? Because I don't know that that's going to work for you because I don't know anything about you. So I would need you to come into the program. You need to pay for the how, and then I can customize and tailor to make sure it works, right? So for me, I put way too much work and effort into how I teach my clients, what I teach my clients, and the way that we do things, right? And so I'm not going to show up and say, oh, do it this way. Here's how you do that. And then it might not work for you, right? So my goal behind this, you guys, is your content can be much easier if you stop trying to coach people and you stop trying to give them all the answers and you stop trying to tell them all the ways and like, oh my God, I need to make sure I tell them everything so they can go off and get a result and then they'll work with me. Well, no, typically results don't typically come free. So they should invest if they want to know how to do something, if they want support in doing something, right? That way you can make sure you customize it and make sure that what you're teaching them is actually going to go work for them, right? Okay, so that is what I teach in our content. We do not give the how. We will give the what and we'll give the why, but we're not going to tell you guys the hows, okay? And that is something that more people are starting to do, but there's still a lot of people, free coaching, oh, here's how you do it. And then they're like, Ann, I don't get it. I didn't get a sale. Well, you didn't get a sale because you just told them how to go do it. So now they think they have what they need. And now they're not going to come back to you because you just told them essentially how to do it. And now if it doesn't work for them, they're going to think that what you teach does not work because they didn't get results from it. And now they're never going to buy from you. Does that make sense? Okay. So you need to be really intentional, guys. The content that you create, it should educate people on what you do and how you do it. Not how you go do the things, but like, how do you work with your clients? What is it that you do? What are your methodologies? What is your system, right? I always teach you guys and I always tell you guys, I am all about getting you out of the one-to-one hustle, getting you over into a scale leveraged business model, right? Building up a group, launch into that group with a very organic 10-day launch or less, and filling up a group program. And then hiring a team of social sellers, profit drivers, right? I am all about the scale and simplifying it. We are not about funnels and technology and crazy complicated email sequences and webinars and slides. And we are all like, not that stuff. right? So those are my methodologies. So my job when I'm sharing content with you guys and I'm here spending time with you is to educate you on my methodologies and what I teach and how I work with my clients. Okay. So educate your people. Your content that you create should educate them. It should inspire them to see what's possible for them. I'm telling you right now that you guys can have $1 million business and you do not need to create more than a few core pieces of content per week, as long as you are strategic with it and you are intentional with it and you follow a proper system. There you go. I just showed you what's possible. I'm doing it. My clients are doing it. It's possible. Okay. You do not have to be everywhere. You do not have to create 500 pieces of content a week. You do not need to be a content machine in order for you to make a really big impact in income. You just don't. I'm also showing you guys my methodology in simplifying things, right? Working smarter, not harder, simplifying things, getting the right team members on board to help you scale, right? And team that does not cost you money, but yet makes you money. There's a whole system and process behind this, right? That's what we teach you. We're not going to tell you how do you go find these people, how do you hire them, how do you do all this. No, we're not going to do that. But we are telling you what we think you should do differently and what you could be doing so that you're inspired to see there's other ways and see things from a different perspective and see what's possible, right? And then your content should be engaging. It should be interactive. It's very hard to interact on a newsfeed. It's very hard to interact from email. Half the emails do not even hit their inbox. So it's very hard to interact that way. But behind the mic and behind the video, you have two-way interaction. People can ask questions. You can answer them in real live time. You're engaging, right? And your content should definitely be, activating people and getting people inspired to want to know what it might be like to work with you, or to be like, wow, I really love the way you work with your clients. I love your methodology. I want to know more about this. I want to have these in my business, right? I want that experience. And so your content should really be creating that sense of like, not urgency, but desire. I want that. I want to experience that. How do you do that? I want to know how, right? So that's what your content should be doing. The fourth thing is I focus on 90% of my time is getting people to my podcast, listening to my podcast, listening to my weekly live show, right? I spend 90% of my time marketing these things and only 10% of my time creating the content for it. It took me 10 minutes to decide what I wanted to talk about here today. I spent all last week and this week so far marketing this live. Does that make sense? 90% of my time goes into marketing those 3 core pieces of content, okay? And only 10% of the time creating the content. Most of you do this backwards. You spend 90% of your time creating your content, right? Whether it be slides or emails or whatever. You spend 90% of your time creating the content, and you only spend 10% of the time getting it in front of people. How does that make sense? You spend 90% of your time creating the content, and then you only spend 10% of the time getting that piece of content in front of people. And that's half the problem. Half of the reason is not your content. It's not you. It's that you are not getting that one piece of content in front of enough people. You're spending way more time creating content than you are marketing that piece of content and building your audience, right? Many of you, a lot of people don't see your content because you're not building your audience. You're not getting that piece of content. You create it, you share it once, and then you're done with it. Right? How many of you do that? One and done. How many of you create a piece of content, share it once, go live with it, email it, post it, whatever, one time, and then you're done with it? You move on to creating the next new piece of content. If you're doing that, it's a broken system, guys. That is going to have you constantly creating and reinventing the wheel. 90% of your time should be on marketing and getting people in front of that piece of content. And only 10% of the time should go on actually creating that piece of content. Okay? So guys, systems are non-negotiable in business, right? You need to have a strong lead generation system. If you don't have leads coming into your audience every day, who is going to listen to this content? Who's going to read your content? Who's going to watch your content? Who are you selling to? If you don't have new leads coming into your audience every single day, then you don't have any people to buy from you, right? You're not going to be able to generate enough engagement. You're not going to be able to generate enough sales, right? You also need to have a strong content system, right? So it's not just about, oh, I'll go live every week and throw that out and boom, I'll get sales. We have a whole strategy behind this live show. There's way more that goes on behind getting this live show visible and getting people to watch it and getting sales conversations from this video than what you see here. Right now, you just see me going live, right? And maybe you got an email or you saw a post. That's it. But there's a lot more that goes in to making sure we get an ROI from this live show. Same thing with my weekly podcast, right? There's a whole lot more that goes behind that marketing to get the ears and eyes on that podcast, okay? It's not about just create the content, throw it out there, and boom, right? That's not a system, you guys. That's not a system. So it's important to have a lead gen system. It's important to have a content system. But then what happens next is you guys need to nurture that audience, and you need to interact and engage to get that audience to want to be, discussing, working together with you. So you got to have a strong qualification process and a strong sales process in place. Okay. Content is only one piece, you guys. It's not enough by itself. If I only did this live show and then I disappeared and I wasn't here till next week, it's not enough. Okay. There's systems that need to be happening around that piece of content, right? There's systems that I have that are built around this video that are happening 24/7, right? That are constantly happening. If you don't have systems and you're just busting out content, guys, that's the problem. That's why you're not seeing the results that you want, right? Content by itself is not enough. You need a strong foundation. And the foundation is your systems. It's the systems that you have in place that bring in those steady leads who want that content. And then you need to get them in front of that content, right? And then you need to nurture them. And then you need to get them to want to reach out and want to work with you. And then you need a qualification and a conversion process. You need a sales system, right? These people are not, your leads are not just going to jump up and say, hey, I want to work with you. And they're not just going to buy from you. There's systems that need to be in place. And this is the exact difference between someone working 40 hours a week in their business and they're busting content out like a machine, and someone who only works 20 or 30 hours a week in their business, putting out just a few strategic pieces per week that actually pulls in conversations that turn into conversions, right? Someone spending 90% of their time in conversations versus random content dropping, right? And hoping that somebody will resonate with one of the millions of pieces of content that you blasted out randomly, right? So let's pause. Okay, I want to answer any questions. I have like 2 minutes. If you guys have any questions, I want to answer a couple of questions. And while you guys drop your questions in the chat box, drop them in the comments. While you do that, okay, I have a little special announcement for you guys, and then I'll answer your few questions if there are any for this week. It's really fair to share with you guys that, we've created over $100,000 from our Facebook group by itself. And I'm talking about no ads, no funnels, no email sequences, no webinars. There's no crazy tech. And no, there's not 500 pieces of content a week. This is just from our Facebook group alone. And the reason we've been able to do this, and we'll hit 500,000 before this time next year, organically, by the way, is because, number one, our strategic and intentional content that we pour into this group consistently, that's one piece. The second reason is the two-way conversations and the human connections that we have created from that content, okay, and have built a system around it. We've been pulling off multiple 5-figure months, guys, from our Facebook group with a super small group that is highly engaged, inspired, and activated. They are well aware of what we do. They're interested in it. They're activated. They're bought in. They're ready to go. And they have a connection with us and a relationship with us. And the content that we have created has done that. And then we back that content with proven systems, okay? So it's not the content by itself, but it's those two things have allowed us to create over $100,000 just from our small Facebook group alone. You do not need a big Facebook group. You do not need a ton of content. You don't need thousands and thousands of people to do this, right? We will hit 500,000 this time or before this time next year from a small Facebook group because of the content strategy that we have and a set of systems that we have in place, okay? And that is what has allowed us to do this. Right? And because the group is engaged, inspired, and educated, and they want to learn our ways. So if this is you, if you want to learn how to grow and you want to activate a small but yet very engaged, inspired group of premium leads, and you want to have the lead generation system in place, you want to have, you want to be able to have a place that, a system that funnels leads into your group every single day. And then you want to have only a few hours a week of content strategy creation that educates those leads, inspires them, gets them engaging, and then has them reaching out to you, wanting to know how to work with you, right? And you want our help to get these systems in place, to get this content system, get your sales system, get your lead gen system, get your organic launch system, get your scale system in place in a very simplified, easy way. Then type scale me in the comments, okay? Go ahead and type scale me in the comments, and my community manager and your concierge, Amanda, will reach out in the DMs with you. She'll send you a direct message on Facebook either tonight or tomorrow. She's going to ask you a few questions to make sure that you qualify, right? And that we can definitely help you. If we can help you, she will go over the program with you. She'll talk about how we can specifically help you pertaining to your specific business and your needs. If it's not a perfect match right now, she's going to tell you that. And we'll go ahead and just send you to some resources that we've created for you if you're not a good match right now, that is going to support you, okay? Now, these chats, guys, are about 10 or 15 minutes with my team, okay? So there'll be about 10 or 15 minutes. There's no guarantees in these chats that you're going to be able to get into my program, except that we will definitely tell you what your blind spots are, okay? If you're here and you want to be here, if you're at $1,000 a month and you want 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K months, or if you're already at 50K months and you want 100K months, you want whatever, we can tell you your blind spots. We can tell you exactly what you're missing, okay? That's the guarantee that you'll walk away with. But going in and having this 10 or 15-minute chat with my team, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get in our program, okay? Your credit card's not getting you in my program. We have to know for sure we can help you, and you have to be ready to show up and do the work. That's the only way it's a perfect match, okay? So if you want to have this experience, guys, if you do want someone to help you set up these systems, get these systems running in your business like a well-oiled machine, and you want to simplify, you want to work less, but yet have a bigger income, bigger impact, and you want to get to a place where you can hire a team of profit drivers, social sellers who are doing your lead gen for you. They're closing your sales for you. They're conducting the engagement with your audience. They're helping you, grow and expand and convert. That's what we teach you, okay? Type scale me in the comments. If that is you and you want to have this experience and you want someone who has proven systems and templates and guidance to help you do this, go ahead and type scale me in the comments and we will reach out to you, okay? We'll send you a private DM. My team, Amanda, she'll send you a private DM, ask you some questions. If you are a fit, then we'll talk about the program. If you're not, we'll have some resources for you, but you will walk away knowing your blind spots, okay? You'll walk away knowing I'm here at A and I want to be here at B, and here's what I need to do differently to get there, okay? Some of you can choose to just kind of try to watch what we're doing and figure it out. That's fine. You're not going to be able to, but go ahead and try. It doesn't hurt to try, but it's not going to happen. You can't see behind the scenes. But here's the thing. This process isn't the same for everybody, right? And that's why I said it's very customized. It's very tailored. This isn't cookie cutter. I don't work cookie cutter with anybody. My program is very, very hands-on, very high-end coaching, very hybrid. It's a lot of access to me, and I'm very much in your business. So everything that we do is very customized, specific to your business. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. All right, let me see what questions we have. Let's check this out. If you guys have questions, drop them. I'm going to answer a few. Let me see how far up I can go. Let's see what we have. Yep, strategic and intentional, and when and where she posted. Yeah. Let's see. Just want to see if we have any questions in here. Yeah. Okay. So yes, it's hard to find time. So one question is, it's hard to find time while working a full-time job. Yeah, it really is. And this is even more why strong systems that are working for you, right? That's the thing, guys, with systems. When you put systems in place, including your content strategies, when you put these things in place, your audience knows what to expect from you. And these things start to happen even while you're working. Right? So again, I think it just comes down to having systems in place, having good strategy in place, having the right support so that you are focusing on the right things, the things that are trending in the marketplace today that are going to give you the biggest ROI for your time and your efforts, right? If I had to work a full-time job today, I have 2 kids at home. I have built 2 businesses with 2 little kids at home. It's not easy, but it's possible, you guys. You got to be strategic, and less is more. For those of you that are head down in your business around the clock and you don't come up for air, that is not good. Okay. It's not scalable. It's not healthy. It's just not efficient. It's not effective, right? You got to be able to have systems operating for you. Yes, I love listening to podcasts too. Okay. Lots of makes sense. Good. Yes. Okay, cool. So Sadie says, this makes sense. I'd like to be on other podcasts. Yeah, so something I teach my clients is how to get featured. Okay. And again, Sadie, you can type scale me in the comments if this is something that, you'd like to have a chat with my team about. But, that's another thing that I've done. Back when I started my agency, VA agency, like 20 plus years ago, nobody even knew who I was. Nobody knew who I was. So the first thing I did is I started getting myself on people's podcasts. I started getting featured. I started collaborating. So collaborations is something I teach very, very, very heavily in my program with my clients. You don't have to do this alone, guys. Leverage other people's platforms, leverage other people's audiences, leverage other people's content. Okay. That is something that we teach. And I think is a great idea to get on other people's podcasts if you're not going to start your own, but do both if you can. Let's see. Yeah, people love human-to-human interaction. Yep. 100%. Someone would rather see you get on a live like this for 30 minutes or get on a podcast for 20 or 30 minutes than draw up 10 emails, right? Trying to say something. It's just so much more personal. Yeah. 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 So how do you get podcasts to get on? That is the how that I cannot teach here because number one, it just depends on your type of business. It depends on your goals and it depends on what it is you're trying to do. But here's what I will tell you. It is not very difficult. Nobody even knew who I was. And I was collaborating with David Nagel, Kimra Luna, Amanda Goldman-Petrie, Lisa Sasevich, Suzanne Evans, and nobody knew who the heck I was. There are ways to get yourself positioned properly. It starts with getting your content in order, getting your social platforms in order, your social house, right? There's some things that you need to get in order so that you can appear to be professional and you have your things in order. And there's, we have templates that I share with my clients that you send to podcasts and pitch yourself. Or if you have a PR person that can, or an assistant, even a VA or an assistant who can pitch for you, right? And they can send these emails, this template, they can send these out on your behalf and get you featured on podcasts. It's something that we teach. Again, we can definitely help you, you guys do that in my program. Okay, what strategies are getting you direct sales? Live video like this and inviting you guys into the DM with my team. That's number one. Number two, we have a whole social selling system in place. Again, back to systems. We have an entire 10-step process that happens when people hit our Facebook group or our community on what me and my team are doing behind the scenes and the front end of the scenes to build up immediate conversations that create same-day sales. So it is a system. It's not one thing that we're doing. It's a few things that we're doing. But I will tell you that what gets everything going is anything live that we do. We have a very strategic launch system that we teach. It's a 10-day or less, 5 to 10-day organic launch system that we teach you. My clients are doing multiple 5 figures every single time they launch. They're launching once a month, maybe every couple months, and they're doing $55,000 launches, $45,000 launches in 10 days or less organically to small audiences in their group following my system. That is a huge moneymaker, direct sales right from live video. And 100% of our sales happen inside Facebook DMs. So we're not actually having to get on phone calls, although we are doing some calls. We don't have to, but we close right in our DMs. Again, it's a system, you guys. It's a set of system, right? You need to have systems in place. And you need to get to a point where you can hire a team. Like, I don't close sales. If anyone was to come work with me, you wouldn't speak to me. You'd talk to my team. You wouldn't talk to me until you get on the other side, right? And then you meet me, you meet my husband, you meet my team over there. I don't do sales calls anymore. I have a team that does that, and my clients now have social sellers that do organic lead gen, community management, and they close sales for them. That's what we teach you guys. We teach you how to scale, simplify, right? Which is probably not what most of you guys are doing right now. Yes, you all created this live show. That's for sure. Yes, and I'm always transparent with you guys. I'm always going to tell you kind of everything. Let me just see if there's any other questions. I'll take like 2 more. Oh, there are questions from people that aren't here. Okay, let's see. Rona asks, how do you organize your thoughts or your words? That's a really good question. I think that part of how I know what I want to say is, number one, every single day my team and I are in conversations with you guys. And that really, really, really helps us create the right language around it. But the second part is I do not create content from force. I create content from source. I do not create content from force. I create content from source. So what that means is I do not create content until I feel inspired about what I want to say. And by doing that is me taking time. I have my little planner. I like to have a physical planner. I have my planner on my computer. And I like to map things out and plan things out so that I know what I want to talk about, right? So part of it is getting and connecting with your audience. The other part is being quiet and paying attention to what you feel like you want to say. But I can tell you right now, when you have systems and you have strategy and you know what you're doing every day of the week for weeks to come, creating content becomes much, much easier. It's very challenging to create content if you don't know who your client is, if you don't know what you want to talk about, if you don't know what's happening in your business next week, if you don't even know what's happening in your business tomorrow. It's very hard to create content, right? Everything you guys see happening right now this week was created way earlier last week, right? Because I knew this was coming. And for next week, I already know what I want to talk about. So this week I created next week's stuff, right? My podcast, my live show, all my posts, all of that, the questions that I'm going to ask you in the Facebook group, it's a system, it's a strategy. It's so much easier to be able to create very intentional, strategic content that converts when you're not doing it last second, when you plan, when you know ahead of time. And a lot of you guys, if you don't know what you're doing in your business to get to the goals that you're trying to reach, it can be very challenging to create content because you're not sure what to really talk about. Really good question. Yeah, Rona asked, what is too little or too much to monetize on the content? That's kind of a complex question. And it's not really a black and white like that. There isn't really any too little or too much. Again, it's just a very, very specific strategy. Okay, let's see, what's this one? I had asked in the group, I've seen people talking and asking about made for you content recently. What is your opinion about that? You know, I think that, I create my own content, but my team creates content for you guys, right? You guys see Amanda go live or she'll post in the group. You'll see my clients jump in there and post or do a video. So my team and my clients support me. But as far as like hiring someone to create your content, there's nothing wrong with it. if you hire the right people that can capture your essence. They can capture your vibe, your energy, and be really tapped into your vision and your mission. And they can really bring that into helping you, create your content. But here's the thing. When you're only creating a few pieces of content per week, you don't need anyone to create your content for you. That money can be used to hire someone who's going to come in and help generate sales for you. That's just a little side note there. Okay. So again, instead of putting that money on someone to create a few pieces of content a week, you create the few pieces of content a week and you put that money towards someone who can close sales for you or who can help you grow your Facebook group or your audience or something. Okay. All right, guys, I hope this was super helpful. Remember, whatever it is that you want us to really talk about and teach about on the weekly podcast, on the weekly live show, put it in the Facebook group. Tell Amanda, get in the DMs. Amanda has sent everyone a DM. She wants to know what you guys want to learn. What do you need from us? What help do you need? Again, if you guys need help with this, if you want our help to set this up, we could totally talk about working together. Type scale me in the comments and then watch your Facebook DM. Amanda will connect with you. And we'll certainly see if you're a fit. If you're not, we'll have some resources for you, I'm sure, to help you. We'll definitely let you know what your blind spots are, right? But if you're a great fit, we can really talk about how myself and my team can support you, getting these systems in place for you, getting the clarity that you need, building up the confidence you need, having that accountability and support, and just that hands-on coaching as you implement and set up these systems. I hope you guys have a great evening. I'll see you guys next week on our next PE live show. All right, bye, guys.